there was actually a gathering of scientists at the Vatican in May on sustainability. And in their closing statement, they said this: "Our message is one of urgent warning, for the dangers are real and the injustice of globalization of indifference is serious. Yet our message is also one of hope and joy. A healthier, safer, more just, more prosperous, and sustainable world is within reach." And that brings us right back full circle to where we started this morning. How many of us said, you know, we have a certain sense of hope because we're here. And being together, as Bob said, we have the opportunity to share ideas with each other. And also, I think, to feed on the enthusiasm of the other people in this group. That's one of the reasons why it's going to be so important that you continue to meet together, so that you're really encouraging each other as well as learning together and sharing your ideas together.
Old ducks are carried away from St. Martha's Early Learning Center, not the kind that quack, the kind that leak. Replacing the leaking ducts was just one of several energy makeover upgrades FPL and its energy partners installed for this Sarasota nonprofit.
St. Martha's Early Learning Center is a wonderful place that does great things for the community, serves really needy families.
The center is located in 2 refurbished 1920s homes that have undergone significant renovations. On the outside,
They have done a lot with their buildings on the exterior to make sure that there's a lot of love in them, and we were able to go into the insides of the workings of these buildings and see where some additional help could be used.
That help involved installing a high-end air conditioning unit, compact fluorescent light bulbs, low-flow faucets, programmable thermostats, and more. FPL spearheaded the community event as part of its Earth Day is Every Day environmental awareness campaign, and several local businesses offered help by donating materials, equipment, and labor. The free energy makeover will help the nonprofit child care facility save up to $1,000 annually with energy efficiency upgrades.
FPL cares about the community. These children are our future. To have them come out and provide this so that our kids have a better environment is just it's very important.
I will be sharing with you a web link to an organization called Catholic Climate Change. And it's an interesting organization that began in 2009. It has currently 18 different partners, including 2 departments of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. And they have a number of resources on the site, particularly for schools and religious ed programs, and just things that you can use, brief little videos like this to show people, to perhaps inspire them and to prompt a little bit of creative thought about what you might do in your own situation, but also a process that they link to St. Francis in creating a pledge to have a more positive impact environmentally. So CatholicClimateCovenant.org is the site. CatholicClimateCovenant.org. And we'll look in a minute at one of the processes that they invite us to be thinking about as we're looking at ways to really begin to tackle sustainability in all the ways that we can. So let's start making a transition now from the kind of theological, why is this important and what are the potential benefits, and let's begin to think a little bit about how. How are you going to start building a plan? What are the things that you're going to be thinking about? What's the sort of, Anne, I loved your thought about there's a current need, but then there's a longer term need. And so we're going to start thinking about some of those things. As you begin to think about strategies, think about, is this going to be an add-on? Are we going to take something and we're going to add a particular approach? Or is this something that's really going to be embedded in the life of your parish or your school? Are you really trying to drive change? or are you going to be innovating in some particular ways? I was thinking about in my own home, my husband and I, about 18 months ago, decided to get one of those programmable thermostats that senses and programs depending on our activity in the house, but we can also set it up in zones and so on. The thing that I love about the thing is we can actually be going out of town, we can be on the road and go, oh my gosh, we forgot to turn our thermostat down, and I can do it from my phone. Now I have to tell you, there is this momentary temptation every now and again to change the thermostat on my husband when I'm here and he's there. I will not do that. But the reality is we are saving money because of this. We are saving energy because of someone else's innovation. And so we need to think about that. How do we drive change? But for each of us, there's going to be perhaps some innovation involved as well. Are we doing only less harm, or are we actually beginning to offer solutions? And in all of these things, both are important, right? You may start at the end of only doing less harm, and then it leads you to a different vision for the future. And so with those thoughts, we'd like to start working through an exercise, and we're going to take some time with this because we want you to now start creating and sharing ideas with one another. For the sake of all of us, but particularly those of us in this room that are a little bit more introverted, the first step is going to be done individually. In the next 5 minutes or so, start to think about what are the projects that have come to mind for your parish or school that you could undertake. Maybe you have 5, 6, 7 different ideas that you've thought about or have been thinking about even just today. Write those down. This is might do, not committing to do. So be as creative and bold in those ideas as you can be. So you're going to move into 2s, or those of you who have had 3, go ahead and do 3. So small cluster. And what you're going to do is you're going to share your ideas with each other. But as you're doing that, I'd like for you to think about, is your idea an add-on, or is it something that would be embedded into the life of your school or your parish? Is it about incremental change, or is it about some sort of particular innovation? Is it about doing less harm, or is it about providing a solution? And then, and we'll leave the slide up so that you can see this, which of the values, or more than one value, which of the values would this be related to? I wanted to share with you just really, really quickly right before we break, and I know Bob's got some things that he wants to share with us, that CatholicClimateCovenant.org actually suggests an interesting process that we really have used this morning. And so I wanted to share that with you. They advise, of course, that we begin with prayer, and then we learn, we assess, where are we in relationship to what we have considered. Then we make a plan to act, and finally we promise to advocate. And I just love the clarity of that. That is a very easy sort of overarching framework for what we can be talking with all of the people in our parishes and our schools about. So CatholicClimateCovenant.org is that website, and that's just their suggestion for a simple sort of overarching framework.